Welcome to Undrafted Hockey Fan. I am Brad. Today we are covering the part 2 of the NHL trade deadline today. So if you want to check this out on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, I'm on all platforms with Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter as well. So hit me a follow, hit like, hit subscribe, give me a rating. I really appreciate it. It really helps creators like me. It really helps push out the content. And let me know what your thoughts are. So anyways, let's jump into this. I got a little Trump. I'm a naturally Red Wings fan, but today we are hitting the Dallas Stars phenomenal trade as well. We have a lot of grid trades. If you want to see the Brock Nelson one, we covered that one in a different video. The Tampa Bay Lightning, we covered that in another podcast. Everything you can find on all platforms. I post them everywhere. So again, I'm a Stars fan, but I'm first off a Red Wings fan. But let's do a little bit of Red Wings trauma. Steve Yzerman, of course, traded Jake Wallman for a second-round pick in the summer for future considerations. He gave away a second-round pick with Jake Wallman to the San Jose Sharks for them to take on his contract. San Jose then takes him, turns him into a monster, and then trades him for a conditional first-round pick. So what ends up happening? So Edmonton Oilers get Jake Wallman. He got for this year and next year has 32 points in 50 games, doing phenomenally well on that team. A real career year for him. He's 29 years old and he plays his left shot D. So good for them. It really helps the Oilers on their defensemen. So who do the San Jose Sharks get? They get Carl Berglund, who's playing currently in the AHL, along with a first-round pick. So Carl Berglund is basically be an AHL guy. He's just, he's a center, 6'2", 25 years old. So he's still, not old, not young, but he was actually he was in the NCAA for 4 years, and he went to AHL, then he went to the ECHL and killed it there, 42 points in 51 games. Made his way back up to the AHL, and now he's at 12 points in 45 games with the Bakersfield Condors. So he'll be playing for the San Jose Barracudas for the San Jose Sharks. The big piece here that the San Jose Sharks are getting back is a first-round pick, and I actually, this is my second time recording this video because I had it on mute. Kill me, dude. I was so mad. But the first-round pick they end up getting is the conditions on them are a little particular. Basically, if the selection is top 12, Edmonton can choose to give San Jose Sharks their 2027 first round pick instead. However, let's say next year, Edmonton's like, nope. Well, you have our 2026. Let's say we want to trade away our 2027 pick to get a good piece for next season as well. If they do that, if they trade the 2027 pick, their 2026 pick is unconditional. So that way they get a fully unconditional pick. If they don't decide to trade the 2027 pick, first round pick, then it is top 12 protected. If they do decide to trade it, then the 2026 pick is unconditional. So either way, San Jose is getting a 2026 first round pick. If they trade the 2027 first round pick, it's unconditional. If they don't, it's top 12 protected. So, and then Edmonton can decide if it is top 12 protected, they can give San Jose their 2027 pick instead. So either way, they're getting a first round pick in 26 or 27. They're either getting unconditional 20. Yeah. So they're getting a first round pick. So it's a great little pickup for the San Jose Sharks. Okay. So we're going to do a couple more trades here. So actually going to Detroit Red Wings. Detroit Red Wings end up trading away Joe Veleno for, should put on the screen, Joe Veleno for Peter Mrazek and Craig Smith. So why would they do this? Why they traded a 25-year-old for a 33-year-old goalie and a 35-year-old center? Well, I'll tell you why. Joe Veleno has really not worked out with the Red Wings. He's defensive center. He's got 10 points in 56 games. He was a former first-round pick, and he's just not really working out. He's signed for this year and next year, and so I think they wanted to free up some cap space for next year and a roster spot for guys to come up and potentially be like a Danielson or something like that, play on the fourth line or something along those lines. So for this year's help, you get Craig Smith, who actually has a higher point production than Veleno. He's got 16 points in 40 games. 9 of them are goals as well. So a little bit more productive center. He can play in that 4C. Fourth line center spot for Craig Smith. So I like that for him. He can play up and down the lineup. Good for them. He'll not be joining them in Washington today, but he will be joining them on Sunday for practice, and then Monday they'll be ready for the game. Who else do they get? They get Peter Mrazek as well, who has this year and next year for his contract. And the reason they're picking up him is that they don't have a goalie for next year solidified yet. And so that's the biggest reason. And Peter Mrazek has had a phenomenal year last year. He had like over a 900 save percentage this year, or last year. This year, he has an 8.9 save percentage and a 3.46 goals against average in 33 games. Not good, but and one of the reasons that Chicago's traded him is they just traded for Spencer Knight, who was a phenomenal for a former first-round pick. So they have Spencer Knight and Arvid Soderblom. Peter Mrazek was the third goalie. He's on his way out, and so Detroit is very familiar with them, and they get a goalie for next year as well. So they'll have Talbot and they'll have Mrazek for next year. I think they end up taking using 3 goalies next year, bringing Kosa up as well, and then running because they can't run Kosa as a backup. Cam Talbot can't do 40, 50 games, and then Kosa, who's kind of learning the way while the Red Wings on their up swing. So they get a good veteran goaltender who's put up good numbers last year, right? And they end up saving money next year on Joe Veleno. And basically what you see is that Joe Veleno costs $2.275 million. And Peter Mrazek costs $4.25 million. So basically, Eisman's like, okay, well, I don't have to pay Joe Veleno next year, but I have to pay Peter Mrazek. So basically, I'm getting Peter Mrazek for $2 million. Basically, how the money works out. So I don't hate it. I don't love it. But again, I think Joe Veleno needed to be traded and moved on from anyways. I'm okay with it. It's not a huge deal there. So I like this better for Chicago than I do like for Red Wings, but it is what it is. So moving on to the next trade, we have Charlie Coyle going to the Colorado Avalanche with a 2026 fifth round pick, which is Boston's, for Casey Middlestad and a second round pick, as well as William Zellers. Now, who wins this trade? I think it depends on what the win is, right? I think who gets the better player. I think Casey Middlestad is the better player. I think he was expected to be a second line center, and he just wasn't it. He was being paid like one. And he had 34 points in 63 games. Not too bad. And one of the things that Colorado wanted to do is they wanted to move off of his contract here this year and 2 years after this. And he was not working out as a second line center. They're like, we can utilize this better. So let's trade him for they brought in Brock Nelson, right? As their second line center. That moves Casey Middlestad down to third C. Like, you're a little expensive for a 3C for this year and 2 more years. So let's bring in Charlie Coyle. They bring in Charlie Coyle for this year and next year. He has 22 points in 64 games. Plays a lot more of a 3C position. Casey Middlestad was kind of, not as defensively responsible as Charlie Coyle. Again, and Avs get to move off his contract for the next 2 years. They'll send out a second round pick, which will be, the conditions are whichever second round pick is lower placement in the draft order. It's either Colorado's or Carolina's. Will receive the second round pick Colorado currently owns that results in a lower placement in the draft order. So yeah, they got the Carolina pick from the Rantanen trade, as well as William Zellers. Now this is a nice little prospect you picked up here. A third round pick, 18 years old, 5'11". He's a center. He shoots left. 18 years old, right? In the USHL, he's got 58 points in 40 games. Phenomenal. Love to see that at Shattuck St. Mary's. He had 111 points in 54 games. He had 57 goals in that game. He had over a goal a game and over a point per game. So he's basically over 2 points per game. That's phenomenal. Nice little pickup. He's a good third rounder. Like, that's awesome. Love to see that for the rebuilding Boston Bruins as well. So moving on to the next trade, we have Luke Connon traded from the San Jose Sharks to the Columbus Blue Jackets for a 4th round pick. Good little piece of business by Mike Greer, Danny Briere. Goodness gracious, kill me. But basically what you're getting in Luke Connon, he's a center, right? He's a center who can also play center. He's a center who can also play winger. He has 18 points in 63 games. They weren't going to re-sign him. They traded him out. No big deal. Got a piece back. That's part of the rebuild, baby. And Columbus gets a little bit of assurance. They also claimed Christian Fischer off waivers from the Detroit Red Wings, which I will die. I will absolutely completely die if the Columbus Blue Jackets make the playoffs and the Red Wings don't, because of Christian frickin' Fischer. That'd be phenomenal. That'd be so frustrating. So, but good for Columbus making a move and everything. We have, of course, Shea Weber is getting traded again. His contract is getting traded, which is crazy. That's a 14-year contract, which is not even legal anymore. His contract of $7.8 million cap is being traded to the Chicago Blackhawks because they can afford it, because they make a lot of money. The team makes a lot of money, right? So basically, Utah is moving off of that contract. They're basically going to put him on LTIR, and then that way, Columbus can pay the contract. And for taking on that contract, they're sending over prospect Akurati as well as the rights to Victor Soderblom. Now, Again, Shea Weber's not the real deal. He actually, when's the last time Shea Weber even played? I don't even know. Let me look this up real quick. Which is, to me, it's just like crazy. Last time he played was nope, he didn't play any games with the with the Utah. And he played in 2020, 2021 with Montreal. The Montreal traded him to Vegas. Vegas traded him to Arizona. Arizona became the Utah Hockey Club. That's crazy. That's so nuts. It's so long ago. So, anyways, what else is Chicago getting? They're getting a 5th round pick from 2019, 23-year-old right winger, shoots right. Aku Ratzi. He's basically been playing mostly in the AHL. He's got 19 points in 50 games. Nice little production, probably like a bottom 6 center. Like I said, he's a bottom 6 winger. He's a guy, nothing too crazy. To me, the more enticing part is the former 1st round pick in 2019, 11th overall, Victor Soderstrom. And you're like, who's this guy? He's a 1st round pick. I haven't heard of him. Well, he actually played, looks like about 50 games in the NHL, but he has not played this year. Currently, he's playing in the SHL with the Brunais IF, and he has as a right-handed defenseman, 36 points in 47 games. That is phenomenal. He's 24 years old. Getting the rights to him, and he doesn't become a UFA until 2028, so that's when they have his contracts until. So or his rights until. So I think this would be a great pickup, a right-handed defenseman who's put up that great of production in the SHL. I mean, bring him over, absolutely. I think he was a half point per game player in the AHL, even when he was playing. Decides to go back home. That's a great pickup. I think that if Chicago can find a way to sign him next year, that'd be peak right there. So, and then Giovanni Smith gets traded for Eric Johnson. Honestly, this guy just keeps coming back to the Colorado Avalanche. They just love this guy. Giovanni Smith, real quick, he has 13 games so far played this year. He has 0 points. I mean, he's mostly an AHL guy for them. But the Colorado Avalanche pick up Eric Johnson, former 1st overall pick in 2026. They absolutely love this guy. They bring him in. They win the Stanley Cup in 21-22. 21-22. They win 21-22. No, is that right? Maybe I got it wrong. No, 21-22. Sorry. Wins the Stanley Cup with them. And then he, plays another year, and then he goes to the Buffalo Sabres, and he goes to the Philadelphia Flyers, and then they trade back for him because they love this guy. Great vibes guy. Again, I'm excited. I'm just happy he's back because Eric Johnson is just so exciting. I love that for him. I love that they keep trading him because I just like him. It's just fun. That's just fun. It's kind of like Gustav Nyquist it's the second time he's been traded to the Minnesota Wild. That's awesome. Just a good vibes guy that works out and produces, and I'm glad they brought him in. Eric Brandstrom traded from the New York Rangers to the Buffalo Sabres for Nicholas Aube-Kubel. And so with this trade, you're seeing Nicholas Aube-Kubel, who's played 19 games this season. He has 2 points. Eric Brandstrom has 8 points in 28 games. Basically just a quick swap. And I think Eric Brandstrom, I would love to see him get something worked out because he's a former 15th overall pick. And it's one of the 1st round picks. You just like to see guys work out. And he has an RFA status, so the Buffalo Sabres get his rights and everything too. Nice little piece of business. Nicholas Aube-Kubel won the Stanley Cup with the Washington Capitals. Washington Capitals. He won it with the Colorado Avalanche. So again, another former former Stanley Cup winner. So good for him. It's good bringing that culture to the New York Rangers, who are they're now on a tear now, right? I think in their last 10 games, they have, they're 6-3-1. Yeah, they're doing much better. Okay. So they're now finally have a positive goal differential too. So they're pulling themselves out of the rut. And I think that's good to bring in that guy that's going to be your, just give you the good vibes of what it's like to win a Stanley Cup as well. So we have a big trade here. Scott Laughton traded from the Philadelphia Flyers to the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they also trade, or Toronto Maple Leafs get a 2025 4th round pick and a 2027 6th round pick, and the Philadelphia Flyers get a 1st round pick in 2027, top 10 protected, as well as Nikita Grabenkin. With this, your Nikita Grabenkin, let's start with the Philadelphia Flyers side, but he's a former 1st round pick, or former 5th round pick, 21 years old, left winger. Played 7 games this year in the NHL. One, he is known for saying back check, forecheck, paycheck, as he's Russian and everything. It was adorable. In the AHL this year, he had 21 points in 39 games. So he's playing a little under half point per game in the AHL. In the KHL, he has 41 points in 67 games with the Magnitogorsk, Magnitogorski, whatever. Anyways, he did really well in the AHL too. So it's a good pickup for the Philadelphia Flyers. Again, it's a nice depth winger, and he's Russian, which I think is important to have a guy because the Philadelphia Flyers traded out Andrei Kuzmenko. It's good to get another Russian that is young, like Michkov, so these guys can vibe together and they kind of grow with the organization together. Again, they have him for this year and next year. It's a really good pickup for Philadelphia Flyers to get that. Again, the culture is so huge. I think it's one of the reasons there's a shot. Well, one, the Rantanen trade. I'm going to talk about this, but one of the reasons he did not want to sign with Toronto and did not accept a trade to Toronto and decided to accept a trade to Dallas was because of the great Finnish culture. He took less money inside in Dallas too. We'll talk about that one later. So what are the Leafs getting? They're getting a half retained Scott Laughton for this year and next year. So $1.5 million on the cap hit for this year and the $1.5 million cap hit for next year. Similar to the Jake McCabe deal. I really like the deal. So they're getting, again, a third line center at $1.5 million. That's some good, tidy business. Got 27 points, 60 games on a bad Philadelphia team. So a little under half point per game player. And I think that with the Leafs, will probably play a little bit more, maybe get those numbers up a little bit. Again, and they also get a 2025 fourth round pick and a 2027 sixth round pick. I thought it was a really good trade. I liked it a lot for the Leafs. I mean, it cost them a first round pick and a pretty good prospect. But to me, I think you're going to get a guy this year and next year. I think that makes a ton of sense. It was a good value for the Leafs. I'm really impressed with this one. It was a really good job on Brad Treliving. So we're going to take a quick break to hear from DraftKings and everything. So we'll be back in about a minute 40. You know, might not feel like it, but spring is right around the corner. You know how you can tell? Golfers are hitting the links, and we have some tournaments to talk about. And if you want to do more than just talk, put your money where your mouth is. Get in on all the tee to green action with DraftKings Sportsbook. From Thursday's opening round through the closing round Sunday, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered with tournament props, live betting, odds boost, and so much more. And if you've never bet on golf before, it's easier than you think. Just pick up something simple like a golfer to win the tourney and make your pick. It's just that easy. Now we got some tournaments coming up. We got the Puerto Rico Open, the Players Championship, the Valspar Championship, the Texas Children's Houston Open. Maybe you can bet versus Stefan Jaeger to win. Maybe a little Scotty Scheffler or a little Bryce Garnett. You know, whatever it is, you can get in on the action. And here's something special for first timers. New to DraftKings customers, bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit cpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boo Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Okay, and we are jumping in. All right, let's go to the next trade. We just did the Leafs trade. We also got Dennis Cholowski traded for Adam Beckman. It's basically a depth trade or an AHL trade. If we look at Dennis Cholowski, he does have some games this year. He has 33 games this year, 10 points. That's not too terrible. Is a former first-round pick of the new Detroit Red Wings. Goodness gracious. Adam Beckman, I've not heard much about him. He's this former third-round pick, 23 years old, of the Minnesota Wild. Looks like he did 11 games with the Minnesota Wild last year. Currently 33 points in 43 games. So basically more of a prospect for the New York Islanders, who are kind of going through a little bit of a rebuild themselves or retool. They traded out Brock Nelson, right? And then Dennis Cholowski, who can probably potentially be like a 7th D for the is he playing the AHL this year? I think he was. I think he was way before. Let me see. He has played 6 games with the AHL team. So it was a nice little small trade. It doesn't hurt. It helps the Islanders in the future. And it helps the New Jersey Devils now. So we're talking about the biggest trade. I think I was the biggest trade of the year. I'd say it's probably even bigger than the Mikko Rantanen trade. You see what I did there. On the Mikko Rantanen trade, traded again, which is crazy that we were saying this. He was traded again. He played 13 games with the Carolina Hurricanes, and one of the reasons I believe, and this goes to culture. I'm talking about this with the Red Wings right now with Tarasenko. Tarasenko's not producing as well because he's Russian and he doesn't have a Russian to talk to. We saw some stress with Michkov at the Philadelphia Flyers because he didn't have a Russian to talk to. They were trying to use Zambula or whatever his name is to try and talk through him. It's like, why don't you just get him to translator, guys? And then also now so now we're seeing that with, Carolina has a big Finnish culture. So that we think, oh, like he's going to be good here. It was a bit of a shock to him that he got traded. So I think he was like, do I want to stay with Carolina? Are they going to win long term? Like he wasn't really working out in Carolina. So if we see what his production was, I mean, this guy's been scoring over. He's a 50 goal scorer. He's had over 100 points in the season before. And we see with the Colorado Avalanche this year, he had 64 points in 49 games. That's 1.3 points per game. That's phenomenal. That's crazy. In the 13 games with Carolina, he had only 6 points. He was under a half point per game player with the Carolina Hurricanes. So I'd be like, yeah, I don't know if I want to sign you long term. So what ends up happening is he is traded to the Dallas Stars. He traded to the Dallas Stars and signs an $8 million contract worth $12 million per year, which is less than what the Toronto Maple Leafs were offering him, what less than the Carolina Hurricanes were offering him. He's saying I could get $14 million per year in free agency, which is $12.25 million over 8 years if he did it. But free agency, you can only do 7 years. So I think he's going to work out so well with the Dallas Stars. I think he's going to act really well. He's got friends in there like Miro Heiskanen on there. There's other Finns I can't think of course, because I've been just ripping through all these trades and everything today. It's been a crazy day. And so what does the Carolina Hurricanes get? Well, they saw how everyone stacked up this season. They saw how Tampa Bay traded away 2 first-round picks. They saw how Florida traded for Seth Jones, trading out a first-round pick with Spencer Knight. They saw just some of the monsters coming out here, and they end up saying, well, this is going to work out long-term better for us. So they get back Logan Stankoven, a small forward, a former second-round pick in 2021, 47th overall, about a half point per game player, 29 points, 69 games. But this guy rips, dude. This guy has some big shoes to fill. I think it was in the playoffs. In playoffs, he had 5 points in 19 games. And then in the playoffs in 22, or no, in the 22, 20, that's the Memorial Cup. Never mind. Actually, let's talk Memorial Cup, was crazy. In 14 games, he had 30 points. That's against his peers. He's playing over 2 points a game. So again, in the AHL last year, he had 57 points in 47 games. This guy, he's small, but he's quick, and I think he's a good pickup for the Carolina Hurricanes. But don't worry, that's not all they got. They got him for this year and next year at as league min, basically, as ELC. They also pick up a 2026 first round pick, which is top 10 protected, a 2028 first round pick, which is top 10 protected. And by the way, the 2026 first rounder is top 10 protected, shifts to 2027, and the 2028 first round pick, which is crazy that they're trading a 2028 first round pick, is top 10 protected, shifts to 2029 if it is. They also get a 2027 third round pick and a 2026 third round pick, which is, dude, it's just nuts. That is a huge trade. It is phenomenal. I think this is gonna be so great. By the way, just to let you know, Mikko Rantanen on his career, even with his half point per game in Carolina, he's got 687 points in 632 games. He has almost 400 assists in a little over 600 games. That's crazy, dude. He is a monster. Also, has salary retained from the Avalanche, which is crazy because they're like Colorado Avalanche are like, okay, we're gonna, Chris McFarland and Joe Sakic are like, all right, we're gonna trade Mikko. We're gonna trade him out of conference, so he's not gonna bother us or anything. It'll be nice. We'll get him out of conference. We'll get all these assets. We'll get a Jack Drury. We'll get Marty Nietzsche. This is good. This is good asset management, right? And then he comes right back into your own division. Dude, if Dallas and Colorado meet in the first round, monsters, absolute monsters. This is why we got to go back to 1-8, like 1 through 8 as opposed to in division. You go 1 through 8, and it creates. This is gonna be monster. I'm so excited. Let's see. So if we did today, the Central Division would currently be it would be the Winnipeg Jets versus the Calgary Flames, and Dallas would be versus Minnesota. If the Colorado Avalanche could knock off the Vegas Golden Knights, which they could, but it potentially could, it could be a Dallas Colorado second round. That'd be so nuts right now. So that's so exciting. I mean, Dallas it's a huge price to pay. I mean, you're moving 2 first round picks out. I think they did better than what the the Tampa Bay Lightning did, because they moved out 2 first round picks and a second round pick for Yanni, 1 year of Yanni, or the rest of the year of Yanni Gordon, and this year, next year of Oliver Bjorkstrand. Plus, they moved out 4th round pick. Like, I just think that it was so much smarter for the Dallas Stars to be able to get this move done, which is sick. It's so sick. So, and in Carolina, I mean, dude, if you look at Carolina, like which is crazy because they were like trying to compete for the cup this year. They have 4 first round picks in the next 3 years. So like they have 3 first rounders and a second rounder for the next 3 years. So like, to me, this is great. This is a great pickup. I think it was smarter for them to do this. Everyone was like, hey, I had a lot of people say fold the franchise if you're going to trade out Mikko Rantanen. I disagree. I think if you can't get him in lockdown long term and you can't like guarantee it, and he's going to walk for nothing, I'm like, well, then yeah, you got to move him. That's absolutely my opinion. I just think maybe it's not the year. Then use these at the trade deadline to get good guys, or the draft table. Trade for players. I think that'd be so much smarter for Dallas. So let me know what your thoughts are on that one, because that is crazy huge. So we're going into the New Jersey Devils traded Chase Stillman and Max Graham and a 3rd round pick for Cody Glass and Jonathan Gruden. So we look at what's happening here. So Chase Stillman, basically an AHLer, hasn't played any games in the show this year. Max Graham, also an AHLer as well. Chase Stillman was a former 1st round pick in 2021 for the New Jersey Devils. He had 9 points in 46 games with the Utica Comets. And then Max Graham is a former 5th round pick in 2024, 20 years old. In the WHL, he's got 35 points in 34 games. So it's a point per game player. Nice little, again, that's all just the Pittsburgh Penguins getting younger, plus getting a third round pick. Nice. That's easy. I'll trade it for John Gruden and Cody Glass. Cody Glass was formerly a Nashville Predator, and they ended up being traded. He was a former 1st round pick, 6 overall by the Vegas Golden Knights in 2017. He was with the Nashville Predators, and then he was traded in this summer. He was traded this summer. No, was it? Yeah, no, he was traded. He was traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins this summer with a 3rd and a 6th round pick. So not only did Pittsburgh Penguins take him on with picks, they ended up trading him and got another 3rd round pick in this, as well as John Gruden, who is a former 4th round pick. He's a left winger, 24 years old, playing in the AHL with the Wilkes-Barre Scranton, 13 points in 24 and 42 games. So I think this is good business by, I think the guy can't really trade. He got Cody Glass and got him a couple picks for him. I think it's another 3rd round pick for him and 2 prospects. Like that's a good tidy work by Kyle Dubas. I like these. I like these taking on all these project picks, and like if one out of 2 or 3 or 4 work out, like it's worth it, right? Plus you're getting picks for this stuff, so easy enough. Carolina Hurricanes took a Marc Jankowski for a 2026 5th round pick. I mean, cool. Like it's just depth, right? It's cheap depth that the Carolina Hurricanes can do. Didn't cost them a ton either, and they had the cap space, because they moved out a big piece today. they had a lot of it, and he does have 41 points in 9 games. Former 1st round pick, 2025. So I mean, easy. It's just nationally getting some assets back. Not a big deal there. So moving on to the Daniil Sprong, who was playing the AHL for the Seattle Kraken. They get, New Jersey Devils get a 2026 7th round pick for him. No big deal there. And you have Henri Jokiharju, who played really well for the Finland team, being traded from the Buffalo Sabres to the Boston Bruins for a 2026 4th round pick. 6 points in 42 games. Former 1st round draft pick in 2017, and 29th overall. I mean, just a good, solid defenseman. Again, he had a good show in the for Finland. He had that 1 goal in 3 games, so he can put up a little production. Hasn't really worked out with the Buffalo Sabres. So I mean, not a terrible pickup. Again, Boston's trying to get younger, and for a 4th round pick, why not try the project picks out, right? Another good size pick is we have Fabian Zetterlund, who was originally part of the Timo Meier deal, which is crazy how long ago that was now. You get Fabian Zetterlund traded from the San Jose Sharks, who had 36 points in 42 games. Absolute stud. I really liked. I wish they would have re-signed him. I really liked him. But again, getting a good piece back. He's over half point per game player, as well as Tristen Robinson to the Ottawa Senators. He's a 23-year-old center for the He's playing the AHL and a 4th-round pick. And who do the San Jose Sharks get back? They get a 2nd-round pick. Zack Ostapchuk, who has in 4 games, 43 points. He's a center. He's played. He's just hasn't really been working out for the Ottawa Senators. He's a former 2nd-round pick in 2021, as well as Noah Gregor, underrated. And the other crazy thing is, I think Noah Gregor, he's a 4th-round pick from the San Jose Sharks. I really liked him in the San Jose Sharks. I thought he was a great player for them. He actually had in 21-22, he had 23 points in 63 games. Like, a point every 3 games, like for a guy who's in your depth, like I thought he was a good like grinder, which is what I really liked about him. Again, San Jose getting a good player to play for them the rest of this year, and maybe they re-sign him, which I think they should, and a 2nd-round pick, plus like again another guy they have from this year and next year for a UFA that they maybe he didn't want to re-sign with San Jose, and again another UFA in the AHL. Again, it costs you like a 4th-round pick. I mean, like easy enough. Good trade for Mike Greer as well. So. Move on to the next trade. We have McLaughlin. I don't know who he is. Who the heck is this guy? Boston and New Jersey trade. You get Marc McLaughlin, who's played 12 games, got 2 points this year, for Daniil, Misyul, both U of A's. It's more of an AHL move. No biggie down there. Just Boston and New Jersey making the trade. The big trade, another huge trade, dude. It's just kind of crazy, dude. So the captain of the Boston Bruins traded from Boston to the Florida Panthers, which is just crazy that it's within division. Boston trades their captain, showing that they're going through what I believe that they're going to say is a retool, not a rebuild. They trade Brad Marchand at half retained. He's got 47 points in 61 games right now. I think he might have a full-blown no trade clause though. Let's see. He has a modified no trade clause, and it was a 18 no trade list. So he could be traded. He could have been traded anywhere besides the 18 no trade list. Usually it's Canada and like somewhere else. And so what do the Boston Bruins get back? They get a guaranteed 2027 2nd-round pick, but it becomes a 2027 or 2028 1st-round pick if Florida wins 2 rounds. So 1st round, 2nd round. And Marchand plays 50% of the playoff games. So that makes a ton of sense. He is currently on LTIR right now. So here he's on IR. So there could be that he's not available and maybe still injured throughout the playoffs. So I think that's a good bet to get for a 2nd-round pick for your captain. I thought that was about what they were going to get anyways. So the fact that this could become a 1st-round pick, I thought it was also going to be, when I saw the conditions, like when I saw it was conditional, I actually thought it was going to be like, oh, Florida has to like go to the Stanley Cup Finals or something like that. So that's just my opinion, but I'm glad they got at least a 2nd-round pick from him. Again, that's what I thought he was going to go for. I went on, you can check out my lives that I did today on YouTube. I talked to a Boston Bruins podcast. It was three people from Boston Bruins and one guy who was a Montreal Canadiens fan. I think they had an issue. They were very pissed about trading Carlo and trading Marchand, but that is the game here. That is the game. So we're talking about who else. We're going to continue talking about Toronto Maple Leafs, who made 2 trades today. One with the Boston Bruins, one with the Pittsburgh Penguins. So they end up trading Conor, Dewar, and Connor Timmins, just moving off all their Connors, I guess, for a 2025 5th-round pick. Connor Dewar is an RFA, as well as so is Connor Timmins. Connor Dewar this year has played 31 games. He was at only 3 points. Connor Timmins, again, these are all just depth guys. Your 13th forward is Connor Dewar, and your 7th defenseman is Connor Timmins, right-handed, by the way. 8 points, 51 games, both UFAs. They had to make room for some of the guys that they were bringing in. So they trade him out for a 5th-round pick. Kyle Dubas, of course, loves his guys, so he ends up trading for Connor Timmins. Of course he does, because that's what he wanted in the first place. Going to the last and final big trade of the season, of this trade deadline. Some good, tidy a bit of business. I love this for both teams. This is a great trade. I think it was so smart of the Toronto Maple Leafs to be able to do this, making, again, some big swings for guys, again, similar to the Jake McCabe deal that they made a couple years ago. So what ends up happening? Who gets the best player? The Toronto Maple Leafs gets the best player in Brandon Carlo, with what percentage they had. He was partially retained. Where is it? $615,000. Let's find out the math. How much percentage is that? 615 divided by 4100. 15% of his salary retained. So for not, but you're like, oh, he's a UFA. No, he's not a UFA. It's for this year, and it's for next year, and it's for the year after that. So they have him for this year and 2 years after that. He's 28 years old. Great little pickup for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I love that for them. He is a right shot defenseman. He's 6'5", former second round pick from 2015. Love that for him. He's the last piece of the 2015 draft that the Boston Bruins had. Because they traded away Jake DeBrusk, and they missed on those other two picks as well. Which is just crazy, by the way. I'm curious. I think I just traded back for one of their guys. I thought it was Jacob Zaboral. Never mind. They did not. Anyways, so they get Brandon Carlo, again, a phenomenal defenseman. I think that's a great pickup. And who do they end up trading out? Fraser Minten. Boston Bruins get, again, they're retaining $615,000 for this year, the next 2 years. They get back Fraser Minten, who only played 4 games this year in the NHL, 15 games, a top 5 protected 2026 first round pick, and a 2025 4th round pick. So who are they getting in Fraser Minten? So the first round pick, phenomenal. I love that the leagues were able to move out 2 first round picks this year for 2 guys who have term. If you look at what Fraser Minten has been doing in the AHL, 13 points in 26 games. Mind you, this kid's only 20 years old. He's a second round draft pick in 2023. I'll say 2022. Still young, 20 years old still. And then if you look at what he's done in WHL, 38 points, 36 games. He's played really well. He's over a point per game in several of his, almost a point per game in every one of his WHL teams. Love that for him. Again, he saw a little bit of the show this year, 15 games. Nothing too crazy, about 10 minutes a night. Again, only 4 points, but again, he's a good depth guy. Again, I think he's a good pickup for the Boston Bruins, because it's like, hey, dude, like, you're trying to get younger, trying to get better. You got another first round draft pick. And if we look at what the Boston Bruins were able to do this season, they got another first round pick next year. And then they might get another first round pick in the next couple of years for the Brad Marchand if the conditions are met on that pick trade. So Boston Bruins are in for a good little, they did a lot of good little trades. So let's see all the trades they ended up making. I see 5 so far. See 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trades. I mean, they did a lot. They did a lot of tearing down. I mean, because they went out a lot of guys this year. Mind you, even before the trade deadline last year, or the free agency deadline, they traded out Omar for that. Like they did a lot of good big trades. It feels a lot like a rebuild right now. So that is one thing that the Boston Bruins, what's it called, podcast that I talked to, they're like, this feels like a rebuild, and it very much might be. So we'll see what ends up happening. So let me know what your thoughts are. Hit like, subscribe if you're on Apple and Spotify. Make sure to leave a review. You can go follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I'm mostly on Twitter if you want to check that out. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. I love you, and I'll see you there. Bye.